Shalom. I want to say Ka Hala Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to you Akims pushing this word in truth and sincerity. I want to make a video on a quick video, just basically on keeping a balance when you come to this truth, because the key is to keep a balance when you're in this truth. You know, a lot of brothers coming in when they're young. You think of this thing more of a race rather than to think of it as a marathon. And as you grow and years go by, you'll understand that it's more of a marathon than a race. You know, this is not no 100-meter dash. This is a long marathon, a long run. So therefore, it would be very profitable for you to what? Pace yourself. You know, it's all about pacing yourself. And when I say pace yourself, it's all about understanding what and what not to go into. Because some things in the scriptures are too deep for younger brothers. Some things in scripture aren't, right? You know, the scriptures, the word tells you that basically, roughly paraphrasing, not to search out things that are too much for you, that are out of your understanding. I think that's in a prophet, but roughly paraphrasing. It's like if it comes to my mind, I'll bring it out. But basically, you have to learn to pace yourself and have a balance in this truth. Okay, so I'm trying to read a couple scriptures and just get to the point of them and break it down. Right. This is the King James Version Bible. This is I should get the scriptures off my smartphone, or better known for the brothers who are deep, the Urim and the Thummim. This is all this is. This is Ecclesiastes 3:1. Ecclesiastes 3:1. And it reads, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. And for you simple-minded jakes and soft-minded jakes, I think the Lord's not about killing. He just said right here that there's a time to kill. So for the Lord, there is a time to kill, and there's a time to keep peace. There's a time to break down and a time to build up. It's going to say right here, verse 3, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. And the thing is, if I may say too, also verse 5 when it says a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. People like these false pastors who are so-called teaching in these whorehouses, okay, and people like Nate and Polite, all they're ever about is embracing themselves, or having people to embrace them. See, these guys have a false balance. They're too stuck on how they look and how their image is perceived, and how they can keep getting so-called popular in the eyes of a man, so they can keep making money, man. That's all they care about, And don't get me wrong, as a man in this truth, you are supposed to care. You are supposed to give a thought to how you look, but only to a certain amount, man. You're not supposed to overstep your boundaries and start wearing flashy garments, and these garments are supposed to be a symbol of, it's supposed to be sackcloth, man. The apostles back in the day weren't wearing very fancy garments. Yahushua damn sure wasn't wearing fancy garments. All they were doing and all they were about is bringing out the truth and waking up the elect of Israel. Okay? That's all any brother, any man that claims to be a man of the Lord, that's all he should be caring about. Not about how he looks or how much money he's making or how he looks in the eyes of man. It's about bringing out this truth and how you look in the eyes of the Lord and His Son. You know? In verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, and a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, and a time for war and a time for peace. And we're coming up right now into that time of war. Right now, man, that war is just building up. We're not at the climax of World War III, although we are in World War III. You know, with all these terrorist attacks and the wars going between nation and nation, happening between nation and nation. We're just not at the climax at World War III. And that's why for the true men of the Lord, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, on down to us younger brothers who are doing this work in truth and sincerity, we're out here preaching the truth in the highways and byways until the time of war comes, man. Can we understand balance? There's a time for all that. That's why when Esau puts us through hell, and these 2/3 put us through hell, we don't go out of our way to take it upon ourselves to recompense revenge, or to go about recompensing our anger onto them. You know, because it's all in the Lord's timing. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's timing. And when He sets His Son, and He makes us, those of us who are of the elect, the hopeful elect, He makes us hunters. Cause right now we're just fishers, man. So fishers, we're not going to be fighting nobody or taking arms and trying to take down Esau yet. We have to be wait on the Lord and His Son so He can bestow onto us the heavenly powers, man. Those spiritual powers, so we can get our bodies back, and then we become hunters and we take down Esau and these 2/3, man. But until then, we have to suffer our lots and keep pushing this word in truth and sincerity, man. On my YouTube and out there on the streets. Okay? Here's another scripture here. This is Philippians 4:11. It says, "Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content." Which content means to be even balanced, man. Just to stay even kill. So if the Lord has blessed you and gave you a little extra money, you're supposed to keep yourself content, man. You don't want that money to let your mind get ahead of itself and you start to go off, man. Like all these other idiotic jakes have done, so-called men of the Lord, like Polite. Look at him. Look at Nate, for goodness sakes. His money went so far up his money made his head so big that he forgot. He deliberately is not teaching the name of the Lord, even though there's been videos and evidence and proof of him knowing the true name of the Lord, but yet he still wants to call on Jesus Christ and God. You know, there's other people, other examples of people who know the truth, but money got to their head, and now they're sellouts, man. That's what you call a sellout. You got billion-dollar pastors, million-dollar pastors who know the truth, okay? But because they're making so much change, okay, so much money, they deliberately decide to not tell the truth. They let the money get to their head. They didn't learn how to be content, man. And on the flip side, a lot of jakes fall out this truth because when they're going through so much hell, they can't take it, and so they let that hell defeat them, and with that, they're not content, man. A lot of jakes are not content with having hitting your daily bread. You know, Jake's so greedy. They always want a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. You know, it's all about being content with your daily bread. You might have only eaten 2 meals the whole day. Well, guess what? At least you got 2 meals the whole day. You're still living. You're not gonna die. You might have Your car might have broke down and you had to walk to work. Well, guess what? You still, hey, I used to always my dad used to always tell me, my father used to always tell me, you know, when I didn't have a vehicle, he said, well, you have 2 feet in a heartbeat. You know, it's all about making a way when when you're going when it seems like there's no way out. The Lord said He'll never give you more than you can handle, right? So no matter what hell you're going through, that's why it's so important to study, because when you're going through hell, it's the studying of the scriptures is what's going to come back to your mind to remind you what you should do when you're in a certain situation, man. The scriptures tell you that the Lord's not going to give you more than you can handle. So when you're going through hell, you need to remember those things. You need to remember that, okay, well, I'm going through hell right now, but the Lord said that whatever hell I'm going through won't be too much for me to handle. So I can't get out of this, but I just got to stay faithful unto the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's why it says that wisdom, Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability, to be stable, to be balanced of thy times. Because we're coming into a hell of a time in the future where all hell's going to break loose. People are going to be confused, running around, screaming, being tormented, tortured, and you got to have a balanced mind, man. That's why studying the scriptures right now is important, because if you don't study them the right way or study them enough, your mind won't be balanced. You know? Okay, that's it on that scripture. Here's another scripture real quick. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is a delight. Is His delight. 1 Corinthians 10:13. This is what I was talking about earlier. There hath no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. So every time you're going through hell or you're being tempted, don't think that no other man's ever been through this kind of hell. Don't think that you're the only one who's been going through what you're going through. There's been lots of men who've been going through what we've been going through and have, survived, have gotten through, have gotten out. Read the scriptures. Read Hebrews. There's multiple examples. Job. Read the book of Job. Multiple examples of men who went through serious hell and triumphed in the end. Yahushua is the main example. Paul went through hell and got out. Paul was stoned to death, and the Lord put the Spirit back into him because he wasn't done the work, and he went back to the city that stoned him to death. That's the kind of mindset you're supposed to have, man. Gird thy loins, gird thyself like a man. That's what the Lord told Job. Rough paraphrasing. It says, there hath no temptation taken you by such as is common to man, but Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Let me read that one more time. It says, I'm just going to skip to the middle of that, or I'll just read the whole verse again. There hath no temptation taken you by such as is common to man, but Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So it's all about having faith on the Lord, man. When you're going through hell, understand that this thing's a marathon. Okay? Pace yourself. Keep things balanced. Know when to speak, know when you keep silence. Know when to hate, but know when to just let go. Hey, I'm learning how to do that with my woman right now. I've been with my woman for about 1.5 years now, and I'm learning how to, how just to keep my mouth shut and let things go, because there's no point of fighting and arguing. It's just going to cause me more stress, and knowing when to put my foot down, lay down the law, so to speak. It's all about learning. It's all about learning, and if you're patient and you run this race as a marathon, you run this race as a marathon, not as a sprint, you will obtain more knowledge, and you will grow, and you will learn how to be patient and keep more balance, you know? So with that, I hope that was edifying to you Akims who are in this truth sincerely, to the hopeful elect. So with that, I want to say Ka Hala Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to you Akims pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.